So again, my name is Sam Acuff, and I work for Customers for Life. It's the post-sale organization that helps our customers be successful on our Salesforce platform. You are attending the Winter 14 release. We'll be joined by our product management team for forecasting, Salesforce for Outlook, Analytics, and the console for sales. And I would like to introduce my co-host, Jennifer. Can you say hello to the world?
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to have you on the line for this exciting session on Winter 14. Sam, you want to walk us through a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today?
I sure will. Whoops. You don't need to see my calendar there. So I'll do a quick little welcome. I'm going to share with you the success community, a little bit about milestones and release types, and then we'll be moving right into the people that you want to hear from. So the success community is a place for you to join the conversation. So one of the things that we tell everybody is that this webinar doesn't end. We continue the conversation. We continue to answer your questions about our products and about this release in our collaboration groups. If you're a Premier customer, you'll join Premier Success. You'll join Premier Release Readiness. Actually, Success, Release Readiness, Premier. And if you're a standard customer, you'll join Success Release Readiness. To join, you go to success.salesforce.com, or you simply log into your organization and go to Help and Training, and then you click on the Collaboration tab. Search for these two groups. If you're a Premier Success Plan customer, join the Premier group, and if you're a Standard Success Plan customer, join the Standard group. These groups are here, lots of activity, lots of questions, and lots of resources are available to you right in these groups, so please join. Jennifer, I believe you're adding the link right in the chat. So all you need to do is click on the right link, either Premier or Standard, and then ask to join or join, and you're in the community. And as I said, the conversation doesn't stop. We'll be posting this recording, the deck for this session, and also FAQs from the questions. Now, today, while the webinar is going on, since there are so many of you, please ask your questions in the webinar question widget. If we don't get to your question at the end of the session, we will compile an FAQ list, and we'll make sure that you get that link so you get your question answered. No question will be left unanswered. Our safe harbor statement applies to everything that we'll be sharing with you today. Make any purchasing decisions, or any purchasing decisions that you make should be based upon current available technology. Very quickly, the release is right around the corner. For those of you who are on these instances right here, and a 6, 7, 8, and 9, you'll go live, and 13, you'll go live on the 4th. And then for our other instances, you'll go live on Friday the 11th and Saturday the 12th. So it's right around the corner, and we're very excited about that. Now you may hear our product managers talk about different kinds of releases, a general release, a GA, beta, pilot, or a developer preview. GA is available for all. Beta is a minimum customer feature set made available as on an opt-in basis. Pilot is something that you'll work with your account executive to be nominated for. And developer preview is available in developer edition org. And those are the different kinds of release types. So if you hear our product managers talk about what type of release it is, this will give you a framework. Now I am going to move right to our first product manager. And Robin, you're on the line, yes?
I am. Good afternoon.
So the floor is all yours.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Go ahead and start showing my screen. My name is Robin Groschel, and I'm a Director of Product Management here within the Sales Cloud at Salesforce. And I'm very excited to speak with you all today about the exciting enhancements we have in Winter 14 for our collaborative forecast product. As Sam mentioned, we're talking somewhat about future functionality, so please make any purchasing decisions based on currently available functionality. So what's coming in Winter 14? Well, first, we have something called Product Family Forecasts and Quotas, which ultimately provides sales management a more detailed view of the forecast and reps quota attainment. As we'll see in a demonstration, this is based on something called product family, which is a field on the product object. And so if your company sells both hardware and software, as an example, you can forecast, adjust, and set quotas for your hardware products separate from your software products. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. And then the second great feature we have is building upon something we released in summer 13, which was opportunity splits. It's a feature that allows organizations to split revenue credit across multiple sales team members. And now in winter 14, collaborative forecasts can reflect those opportunity splits, giving sales management a more accurate view of the forecast and their team's contribution. So in this, we've got some slides that we'll make available to you after the presentation, but I think what I'll do is just jump right into the demo and show you these great new features. So I'm logged into the system as Valerie Jones, and Valerie is a director of sales, and she's got a number of sales managers that report to her, each of whom have their own sales teams that are working on opportunities. We can see here that we're forecasting quarterly, so we're rolling up the forecast into Q3, Q4, and so on. Each rep has a quota. We can see what they've closed so far this quarter and what's in commit, upside, and pipeline. But this looks probably a little bit different than you're used to in collaborative forecasts in that there is a new option here to expand and get more detail. So I'll just draw your attention to Scott Thompson, and we can see that Scott has a quota of $250,000. We can see that he's closed $467,000. He's got $47,000 in commit, $418,000 in upside, and $209,000 in pipeline. So good, healthy funnel. But if I want to get a little bit more insight into what Scott is selling, I can click this plus option and take a look at the product and the service. These are two product families that we have set up in this organization. I can see that Scott has a quota of $175,000 for product and $75,000 for service. That makes up his overall quota of $250,000. And I can also see how the forecast breaks down. He's done a great job closing business for the product family and less so on service, but that's okay because his quota is less for service as well. So when I look at his commit number, I can see that's $47,000 in commit. And let me bring up one of these deals and show you what this is all about. So we can see overall this $22,000 opportunity that Scott is working on. And as I hover over the products related list, I can see that there's two products here. There's Alpha product and Basic support. Alpha product maps to the product family, whereas Basic support is part of the service product family. I can see the quantities, the sales price, and the total price associated with each of these. So for Alpha product, really $20,000 should be coming into the forecast for product, and only $2,495 should be coming into the forecast for service. And that's exactly what's going on here in the forecast tab. We can see that for product, $20,000 is coming into our forecast. And as with collaborative forecasting, you can always make adjustments here. So if I think he's going to actually bring in more than $20,000 this quarter, I can adjust that and make this $25,000 commit. It's important to know if you use product family forecast, adjustments are made at the product family level, meaning you wouldn't just adjust, we won't have the capability to adjust Scott's overall number. What you would do is adjust the product family forecast. You'll notice that there's a section here called products not categorized. And what we did here was, of course, there are times when you might be working on an opportunity and you don't have products yet. Maybe you don't know what the prospect is going to purchase. Or you could have products on an opportunity that aren't mapped to a product family. Well, we all know that revenue is critical to have visibility to in the forecast, and so we don't want to lose sight of that. So anytime that we come across that situation where we see that there's no product family or maybe there's no products, we still ensure that that comes into the forecast into this bucket called products not categorized. Lastly, we've brought one additional feature into the product family forecast, and that's the ability to show or hide rows with all zero values. So what this will do is, let's say you've got 10 product families that your organization sells. But your particular division only sells 2 of those, and the other 8 have Nobody has a quota for those. There's no forecast for those. There's basically zeros across the board. What will happen is by selecting that, you can choose whether or not you want those product families to show up in your forecast. Oftentimes, there's a lot that we want to show on the forecast screen, a lot of great data here, but it can become really crowded really quickly. So if you want to hide rows where there's all zeros, you simply select this option and saves you a little bit of real estate. So that is product family forecast, and it's great for organizations that are using products, using product family, and want to get that visibility from a forecast perspective by those product groupings. Another feature that we have available, and I'm going to quickly shift gears and show you a different setup, is for organizations who might be using opportunity splits. So we'll take a look at this version of forecasting where we still see Scott Thompson. We're not seeing the plus-minus option here, so we're not going to be breaking this down by product family. But instead, you'll notice there's some new fields on the opportunity list below for amount, split percent, and forecasted amount. And let me take you through what those mean really briefly. Again, I'm going to come into Scott Commit, and I'm going to pull up an opportunity. Now, traditionally with forecasting, what would happen to this opportunity is $22,000 would roll into Scott's forecast for the quarter. But if I scroll down, I can see that Scott is not working alone on this opportunity. He's actually selling as a team. He, Sue, and Vance are engaged in what we're calling a revenue split, where they're splitting credit for this opportunity. Scott's getting 50%, Sue's getting 25%, and Vance is getting 25%. And there might also be overlays, but we're not focused on that right now. So because Scott only gets 50% credit, we don't want to see $22,000, that full opportunity amount in the forecast. Instead, what sales managers are looking for is just their rep's forecast contribution. So really it's this $11,000 that's meaningful here. And so when I jump back into the forecast tab, we can see, looking at this opportunity, that the overall deal is $22,000. But again, Scott's portion of that is 50%, which is $11,000, which is part of his commit. And of course, as with forecasting, you're able to make adjustments as needed as well. I'll go ahead and do that really quickly. Okay, so hopefully you have liked what you've seen for both product family forecast as well as opportunity split forecast. One thing that is important to know is once your environment is upgraded, the default here is going to be for opportunity. This is what we traditionally, this has been the traditional data source for forecasting. And you can decide whether you want to use product family or opportunity split. Now, it's important to realize that in this first release, you have to choose one or the other. So you want to choose the one that's going to work best and give your organization the most value. So if you're using opportunity splits as a feature, you're probably going to want to use opportunity splits in your forecast. If you're not selling as a team and you only have one owner of an opportunity, perhaps a product family might be a better fit for you. In the future, we hope to extend this and allow you to really report on and forecast on all of these within the same org, but that'll be coming in a future release. So for now, check it out and decide which one works best for you. And then all you need to do is go ahead and once you select, you just save. Okay, so that is it for the demo. I'm going to show you just a couple more slides. So one of the things that some of you may know is that we have another earlier version of forecasting still out there. It's called customizable forecasting. And we are on a journey where we're taking the features that were well used and well adopted in customizable forecasting and bringing them into collaborative forecast. So an example of that is product family forecast. So product family forecast existed in customizable, and here it is coming in winter 14 in collaborative. However, overlay and split forecast did not exist in customizable forecasting. And as we've seen, revenue split forecasts are coming in our winter 14 release as well. So really, as you evaluate which version of forecasting is best for you, take a look at this cheat sheet. It's also available in help and training to help you identify which version is right, and if you're using customizable, when is the right time to make the switch over to our newer collaborative forecast. And then a couple of additional resources I want to leave you with. We've got some great YouTube videos. We've got sort of that 1-minute version, high level, what's collaborative forecasting all about, what's the value proposition, if you wanted to share that with some executives to get them excited and get them familiar with this new offering. We've got a longer 3-minute product demo, which might be of interest to your sales managers to give them more of a feel for the product capabilities. We have a forecast administrator's workbook, which is available via help and training, and this is a step-by-step implementation guide for administrators. It will take you through the process of setting this up for your company, as well as we provide some sample reports and how you might want to set up some forecasting reports as part of your implementation. We have a brand new training module. So check out our training modules both on how to set up collaborative forecasts as well as how to create some killer reports with collaborative forecasts. This is currently available to all customers. It'll soon be moving to the Premier catalog only, so do act fast if you're not part of that Premier catalog if you don't have access to that. And then lastly, we have a new App Exchange package that's available. It's a free package, and it allows you to, it creates a quota tab in your org and allows sales managers and administrators to create, edit, and delete quotas for revenue and for quantity. Traditionally, our quotas has been an API-only feature with collaborative forecasts, so this is a really nice alternative to have a UI to manage quotas instead of requiring the data loader. So check it out. And with that,
Robin, we have some questions for you.
Sure.
So first thing, does the new forecasting work yet for territory management?
It does not. We are in the process of rebuilding territory management from the ground up, and we will make information about that available to you. Sam, I know you have a pitch for an upcoming webinar that we're going to be doing. But ultimately, when that new version of territory management is available, we will work fast and furious to incorporate it into collaborative forecasting. At this point, that's still several releases out, so stay tuned. If you're using TM now, please continue to use customizable forecasting.
And Jennifer, we'll be releasing information about that territory management webinar when?
In the next couple of weeks, we're just finalizing all of the details, but it's going to be happening in mid-October.
Jennifer is the person that's making all of these great webinars happen, so it's very exciting. Robin, another quick question here. Do the sales team participants on an opportunity and their associated splits have to be defined on an opportunity-to-opportunity basis, or can something be defined as a default basis, say on a user profile?
That is a good question. So let me do my best here to answer that. So the first thing you should know is that anytime you create an opportunity, once splits are enabled, the opportunity owner will immediately be added to the split as 100%. And then you can manually tweak that percentage and add additional team members, or you can use automation to insert additional rows. If, for example, in a particular region, you always add a sales engineer to the team and you want to add them to the split and give them credit, you could store that information in a custom object and use Apex to populate those additional rows based on your logic. But it's not stored on the profile or on the user record at this point, any rules around splits.
And Jennifer, correct me, I think that our opportunity split functionality was summer, right? Summer 13, right. Or did it go what?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, okay, if you're not familiar with opportunity splits, then please review the Summer 13 release notes because it's very exciting. And now we're going to turn the presentation over to Ken, and we'll hear about the enhancements to Salesforce for Outlook. Ken, are you ready for us?
Yep.
Again, you guys keep the questions coming in.
Great. I'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Ken Wakamatsu. I am the product manager for Salesforce for Outlook, and I'll be covering the new features in the Winter 14 release. Of course, I have to start with the safe harbor. This will mostly pertain to the questions I'll probably ask later about what's coming after. So I'm going to start with the demo, and I'm going to basically demo 3 features. Just in case there's some of you here who haven't seen the side panel yet, I'm just going to do a quick overview of what the side panel is and how it works. So what you see on my screen right now is this is the side panel that appears here on the right. And what it does is it takes an email and it looks at the email addresses. It looks at the email addresses for contacts or leads in Salesforce, and then it displays their contacts, that contact's relevant Salesforce or CRM information. So you can see here I've got an email with one of my contacts, William Moxley. Got a nice picture here. I've got the open activities, activity history, and I have the opportunities. I can also see any cases that are related to this contact. If I click this blue link, it'll go ahead and open up Salesforce to that record. So I can go in here and modify my opportunity if I needed to. So this side panel functionality has been around for quite a while, almost a year now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover some of the new functionality. So when we enabled this, we got a lot of feedback. This was great, but you took away the add email button and the send an ad button, and we really need that in order to do our work effectively. So what we've done is we've kind of reintroduced it. And what you see right here, right now, is when I click a new email and I have the side panel enabled, you're going to see that you're going to get a blank side panel here. And you'll see it says after you add a recipient to your email, we'll display them here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's say I'm going to create a new email. I hit Command-K or I hit check names. And once that email address is registered in Salesforce, you see here I get the same information. I could go ahead and say, let's do lunch. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and associate this email to William and also associate it to this opportunity. And then you notice here that it says after you send this email, we'll add the email to Salesforce, and then we'll also associate it. So this is an example of composing a new message. And then what I have here set up already is I've got an example of where I'm replying to someone. So this is an email that I've had previously. You can see that there was addresses here, and I've got the same side panel functionality with all these contacts that are already being displayed. So this is the ability so now you can reply to existing email, or you can compose a new email, and you will have the ability to go ahead and to add emails and send them at the same time. Another feature that I wanted to cover is we now have the ability to show more than 4 contacts. So up to now, we've limited the contacts, automatic contact association, the contacts that are being displayed to 4 contacts. Now depending on the resolution of your screen, what we'll do is we'll start showing more than 4 contacts. So you can see, it should be here, is that I should be able to see more contacts will start to display dynamically. So a better example of this is here. So I've got, let's see, hold on a second. So you can see here I've got several contacts, and as my display changes, I'll have a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 10. So this is new functionality in the pertaining to email. Another feature that we've added in the Winter 14 release is the ability to associate events. So you can see here I've got an event. I have a dinner with Will, and I want to associate this in Salesforce. You'll notice here that it says in order to add an event, I just click this new calendar icon. So then once I click this button, you'll notice that I'm adding the email to William Moxley, and I've also added, I've associated the event to this opportunity. So now one question that does come up that I forgot to address earlier is the unresolved items queue. So what happens with Salesforce Outlook right now is when if you are syncing your events between Salesforce and Outlook, they will and the events will end up in the unresolved items queue. So once you associate the event here in the side panel, it will actually pull it from the unresolved items queue, and it will remove it. So you won't have to go to that queue anymore to resolve resolve these items, to resolve the events. So I'm going to jump back to the slides real quick, and I'm going to just quickly cover just a quick recap. So the ability to add emails and compose new emails while you're sending them, the ability to associate events in the side panel, and we display up to 10 contacts in the side panel now. Here's some screenshots that I provided, and then kind of just a little bit more detail into the features and functionality. So send and add, even though we're calling it's that's what the feature was called previously. Since we are actually now going to add the email and then send it. This was a timing issue with, in some cases, you may have, your end users may have their email set to sit in the outbox for a period of time. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to interfere with that process, and so we actually add the event in Salesforce first, and then we wait for Outlook to send the email. There's a question that did come up previously about what would happen if the user were to go in and modify the email and then send it again. Well, we would actually add that newest version to Salesforce too, so you will always have the most recent revision of the email. So another question that comes often is that does the side panel require end users to sync, for example, their contacts or to sync their events? And the answer is no. Actually, you can have all of your syncing turned off, and you can have just the side panel enabled, and you can still use all this functionality. Basically, the email address, the way we match the email addresses has nothing to do with contact sync. And in the case that, and in the case for events, it's actually a little bit more complicated. So if the end user is, if your users are not syncing events to Salesforce at all, or if you're only syncing events from Salesforce to Outlook, then what happens when you associate an event is we will actually create the event, and then we will add it to Salesforce, we'll make the associations, and then we'll pretty much orphan it. So any change that the end user makes in Outlook will not be reflected to the event in Salesforce. So it's pretty much if they went into Salesforce, added the event, and made the association. It's just going to live independently of the calendar. Now, if your users are syncing their events bidirectionally between Salesforce and Outlook, or if the events are being only pushed from Outlook into Salesforce, then what's going to happen is the event will be created in Salesforce if it hasn't already been. If it's been synced, we'll find the match, and we'll make the association. If the event didn't already exist, we will create the event, and then on the next sync cycle, which happens every 15 minutes, we will match the event and then match the associations. And since the events are syncing, if your users make any change to the events, then that event the changes will be reflected in Salesforce as well. So another one is, did you know we actually do support Windows 8 and Office 2013? This is the full MSI version, not the click-to-run version. We do support both of those. A quick other feature recap previous releases is if you have shared activities enabled, you can actually associate your emails and events to multiple contacts and multiple contacts. You can add emails and events to all records, including cases and custom objects. And we now added a user feature that allows the user the ability to choose whether they want to sync all of their records inside of a folder. So let me just quickly show you that. So which is an automatic sync. This is the way Salesforce for Outlook used to work. Or you can choose to manually sync the items. So only the items that you mark as with the category sync with Salesforce. These are the only types of records that will actually be synced to Salesforce. So that's something we also added recently. So let me go back here. Sorry about that. And then finally, what's currently not supported. So in the Winter 14 release, we do not support click-to-run versions of Microsoft Outlook. The Contact Manager and Group Edition of Salesforce does not currently have the side panel enabled. We don't support Apple, we don't support Citrix, and we don't support Gmail. This application is a Outlook add-in, and therefore we do not support these types of software. So that's everything. So I'm sure I have some questions. So shoot away, Sam.
Yeah, so Jennifer, you've got some questions. I see you typing away and answering some. What questions can you share today?
Yeah, so obviously, Ken, you went back to going back to the slide of everything that's not supported. The top questions are, when will they be supported? So would you mind giving a little insight into what you're thinking about next?
Sure. So we are looking at click-to-run right now. Safe Harbor, we're targeting probably within the next 1 to 2 releases to support click-to-run versions of Microsoft Outlook, at least most likely starting with Office 2013. In terms of Contact Manager and Group Edition, we're looking to support that within the next release or 2 as well, to have the side panel automatically turned on for those users. Apple software, so Apple that is a tough one for us because Apple version or the Mac version of Outlook or Entourage does not support add-ins. So we can't use the same technology that we built for the Windows versions. So that puts us a little bit of a challenge, although we are looking into ways to solve this. We don't have anything that we can announce right now, but it is something that we are aware of that is growing among our users. Citrix is not on our short-term roadmap, and neither is Gmail, mostly because we're focused right now on getting pretty much all the functionality that you had with Connect for Outlook, for example, the ability to associate tasks and contacts in Outlook, and the ability to do other things like create case. We want to be able to support all those in Outlook first before we start to tackle these other platforms.
Okay. All right, great. So a couple more sort of functionality questions. Are you able to add an email to Salesforce when you're not sending or replying?
Yes, you can. So let's say I have an email here that I've received from one of my contacts, and I'm not sending or replying. I can just go ahead and click this button here. I can add the email to this contact and this account without doing anything at all with an email that I've received.
Okay, great. And then several people asking about attachments being added, attachments on an email being added into Salesforce.
Yes, that is a good question. So maybe I'll cover something quickly that I didn't cover previously. So in order for the admin to enable this, I'm just going to take a step back, and then so I'm looking at my Outlook configuration right now. So all the admin needs to do is click this side panel checkbox, and it will enable the side panel for the users in this Outlook configuration. For the end users, they would come here to their desktop add-ins, download the latest version, especially for these new features will require a new version of Salesforce for Outlook. So they can come in here and download it. You can also host the executable or the MSI internally on your website for your users to go and download as well. So in terms of attachments, so currently we're still using the My Email to Salesforce setting. So your users, right now we currently obey whatever the user has checked here for always save email attachments. I believe this is unchecked by default, so if you check this, then the attachments will actually be saved when you attach the email. Safe Harbor in the future, we're looking to make this modifiable in the side panel. So you'd be able to choose which attachments, but that is on the roadmap. And
Ken, when you select this setting, can you see the attachment in the notes and attachments, or where do you see it inside of the app?
So you will see it on the email. Let's see if I can get an example real quick. So let's see if I think. Give me 1 second. This is my test environment. It's a little bit longer to load. So you can see here, I don't have it, but it will show up here under attachments of the task.
Got it. All right.
It falls under the task, yeah.
It falls under the task. Okay. So we are going to move this along to our next product manager. And Marco, I'm going to pass control over to you, and he's going to share what's coming up in analytics, which is just fabulous. It's one of my favorites.
Thank you very much, Samantha. My name is Marco Cuso. I'm a product manager for analytics. And very short history. I've been here for a long time, almost 8 years in product management in analytics, for 4 years. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming for Winter 14. So what's coming? Few smaller UI functionality changes, which are actually quite important. First is resizing of a report tab on a folder tree. It definitely makes usability easier. Then show and hide role hierarchy in reports. If you happen to have a lot of partner portals, or if you have a really long role hierarchy, your list when you run a report is really long. So we are just making that simpler to view. So we are hiding it by default, your role hierarchy. And then next 3 items actually been working on for a long time, and those are multi-release efforts, and finally they're going out. It's operational trending and embedded analytics and analytics API. So let me jump right into it. So First, operational trending, what it is. So its ability to do historical trending. We do have some limits, so that's why we are calling it on pipeline tracking and operational tracking. We are tracking our current month and first prior 3 months, and what it does is you can do week over week, month over month, quarter over quarter tracking, for example, for pipeline. So items like reports like pipeline pushing or pipeline pulling or amount changes, now you can do all of that inside Salesforce. And there is really no other vendor who provides that inside CRM. It's very powerful. So what we're doing is we are tracking for opportunities five standard fields, which are amount, close date, probability, stage, and forecast category. And if you, for some reason, you use your own amount or your own stage, then you can actually add 3 custom fields. Or if you want to track something else, then you can track those fields through custom fields. And besides that, you can track operational trending on 3 custom objects with 8 custom fields each. And we also have this new functionality called field-to-field filtering. We're doing it on historical trending first, but in the future we do want to expand that to other like Tabula and Matrix. So we are starting on historical trending. And finally, we have this new setup page and configurator. So this is where admins can actually go in and enable objects, fields, and what kind of data they want to start trending on. And I'll be doing a demo for all of those items. So next, I'll be showing you embedded components. So it's really, use case is you salespeople, for example, if they want to get some information on account, they tend to go into Reports tab or Dashboard, so they have to run a report, put that account ID, account name in, they have to know that information. Now you can add that report chart right on your account tab. So in this case, through a page layout, so a salesperson can go in, look at account information, and they can look at the pipeline changes for that account specifically. And we are sending a context, either account ID or parent account ID, and it's up to your admin to define that right into this report chart. And when they click on it, they can filter it by that account information already. And finally, we have Analytics API. So this is something which really empowers developers to develop their own solutions on top of our report engine. So everybody likes our reporting, and because it's simple, it's powerful, you can set up all your filters or your columns right into the report. But sometimes users do ask me, why don't you support chart type, like, for example, geolocation? And we are planning to do that in the future. But right now, they can go and use our Analytics API and use a different charting engine. All they can do is they can put a Visualforce wrapper around it, and they can add it to a dashboard or as an embedded component, or they can even create a new report page, for example. And actually, I'll be showing a demo on that very shortly. So let's jump into demos right now. So first, here is my demo org. Let's go to Reports tab. So extending folder tree, small things, but sometimes users do tend to have very long folder names, and however, it wasn't as powerful as we thought originally. So now users can make it as wide as they want. So next, let's talk about operational trending. So when we go out with our Winter 14 release, your admin has to enable historical trending on your org. So they can go into Setup page, type historical trending, and they will see this new setup section called Historical Trending under Customized Reports and Dashboards. So let's click on that. So you will see opportunity selected as one of the standard objects, because right now it's the only standard object we are enabling training on. But then also, if you have a lot of custom objects, for example, you can just search right here for your custom objects. In my case, I only have one. So, but you can go in and you can select whatever fields you want. So on this page, only fields that are trendable will show up here. And we do, our release notes actually do a really good job explaining exactly which fields are trackable. So, but you can enable your object right here, and when you click Save, then for a custom object, we will actually create a report type for you. So it will be a custom report type, so you can go in and make changes. But for opportunity, we will actually, because we already have opportunity entity history for all the orgs, so we'll be rebuilding current month and prior 3 months history the moment you click on Save. So on a day one, you will already have some pipeline history you can start running your reports on. So, but on top of that, you can enable additional free fields for opportunity, or if, let's say, you have a lot of data in opportunity object, but you don't want to trend everything because it does create a lot of noise. It could slow down your reports. So now you can actually configure your data to only trend very specific information. Like, let's say you want to use a record type, is most of the time is a kind of main use case. You can say where opportunity record type is sales or renewals or something, or services. Or you can say, I only care about type which is equals new business. Again, it depends on your use case. So you can go very specifically, or you can say where created date was after certain date if you don't want to go back 10 years ago. So again, it provides a lot of power for you as an admin to decide what you want to track and what you don't want to. So all right, so we just enabled our historical trending. And then we by default create a custom report type for you, and then you would go and create a report. So let's go into Reports tab, click on New Report, and here we'll see this new custom report type, which is Opportunities Historical Trending, and let's create a report. So first you will see there is opportunities in a field finder tree. You will see the current opportunity view, and here on the bottom you will see all the historical fields. So I am doing 5 standard fields, but you could have 3 additional fields right here. And we already select in a report all the main fields people are using. In my case, I like to just structure my report slightly differently. Let's move a few things around. I'm very specific how I want to see my data. So here I have a snapshot between yesterday and today. I didn't really do any work yesterday, so let me go back and select July 4th. So what this provides you is a view by opportunity, a historical snapshot, and today. And we are color coding the differences for all the values. So in this case, you can already see this opportunity first one went up from 20 to 80,000. This is really good. When the values go down, we are calling it red. So you could go in and reverse colors. So I was actually presenting it to our support people today, and I was using example of number of bugs. If number of bugs goes up, that's kind of bad thing, so they would reverse colors. For pipeline, if the amount goes up, so that's a really good thing. But also you can go and show changes, and that applies to every field. So you can do that for close date and stages. For amount and close dates, we can actually build intelligence in and figure out what change means. For stages, we can't really tell. All we can say is that, okay, stage has changed. So this is really great as a sales manager, and every Monday morning I probably want to see this report. Let's run this. This is pretty much tells me, okay, something has happened. I should talk to this Acme guy right here. Amount went down. Opportunity got pushed by a lot. That's not a good news. However, there are these few opportunities which didn't really change that much. Why are they showing up? So now you can actually do field-to-field filtering. Now, this is new with historical trending. So you can say historical field, and you can select a specific historical field, in my case, amount. You can select specific date or a snapshot, exact date, or, for example, all the snapshots. In this case, if I had 5 snapshots, I would apply this filter for all of them. And I can say not equal to field amount. And I want to do the same thing for close dates. And here, what I want to see is actually change report, any change that happened. And what I can do is add a 1 or 2. And I can say, if amount or close date changes, send me this report. So it's, again, I don't, as a sales manager, I don't have to go through a lot of my pipeline for my team to go and find out what has changed. Why did my forecast was $1 million last week, and why is it 200,000 right now? So this is great. And what if you want to add this to a dashboard? Because on a dashboard or as an embedded component, I'll be showing that shortly, you want to see a little bit more of an aggregated macro view. So you can turn this report into a matrix view. You can, of course, summarize it like you're dealing with any kind of report, and you can just move over to stage historical. But you really want to see the pipeline over time, so let's actually add a few more snapshot dates. However, I don't want to go if my report is on a dashboard. I want to go every month and change my dates. That's kind of painful. I can make this totally dynamic. I can say, give me information 1 month ago, and on top of that, give me 90 days ago, and last one, first day of 2 weeks ago. So, and here I want to add a chart, and here it is. Some really interesting report. I can hide the details, and what I have here is I can see by my historical stage where my data was, what my pipeline was for each stage at specific snapshot date, and how amounts were changing. You know, in June, my pipeline was almost $1 million, and now it's 540. So I can see exactly which amounts changed, which ones were lowered, which were pushed. So this is great. I can save this and say Sales Cloud Demo Tuesday. So I can save this. So before I show embedded components, the last thing I wanted to show here, now by default you saw that there was a lot more space, especially if you have a long role hierarchy, because by default we are hiding it. So especially if you have customers that have pages of role hierarchy, and it was kind of painful to navigate all the way down. So now it's hidden, and if you want, you can show it. So they have a historical trending report. So now I would like to either add it to a dashboard, and it just works like a regular report and regular component. But now we can actually add it to account tab. So as I was talking about, I would like my salespeople to have all the charts, the relevant information right on an account tab or an opportunity tab or somewhere else inside Salesforce, so they don't have to search. So let's go into global media. Let's go into edit page layout, and you will see this new section called report charts. And then right here, this is a report I created. So I was just trying to show that it's real. So all I did was just drag and drop a report down. So I can do this one more. So, and you can go in and look at the properties. So you can change some of the properties, but key things are the context which is sent into this report chart. So if right now I'm using account ID, But if I had a parent account ID or opportunity ID in here, then I could actually drive whatever context I want to send to that chart. So again, it depends on your use case. Sometimes you want to use account ID, sometimes something else. And also you can force a user to refresh each time this page opens, or via caching report, the first time it runs during a day, and then people can refresh it on demand. So by default, we don't want you to put additional load on our database, so this is off. So let's save this. Here you see the chart I just created, and you can see the pipeline changing over time. And you can also, you have a refresh button. So again, by default, refresh is off. We are only running it the first time during a day. So each day we are rebuilding the cache. And then if you want, you can either refresh it or your admin can just change that setting. So it's really powerful. So, and finally, I wanted to talk about Analytics API. So again, why did we do it? It's because to give you options. What if you have a dashboard and some chart types you don't really like and you want to add your own? What if you have historical trending and you want to see a waterfall chart? And out of the box, we don't support that. So here, I just created a dashboard. So actually, let me go into another one. Here we go. So here I have a dashboard which shows our regular components, but then we just use D-Free Charts, which is a free charting library, and we used our report engine, and we just used the different charting types. We put it in a Visual Force wrapper, and we can put it on our dashboard, and it behaves like a normal component. And finally, another kind of a showcase of power of Analytics API is we have this report, which is really great. But what if you wanted to create a specific kind of a canned report where you're only giving very specific data sets to your users? So you can do that, again, with our report API. So here you have a report. You created a columns, filters, whatever you wanted. And then what we did was, again, we used our D-Free library. So we created this chart, and you can just create your own filters, for example. You can just change your chart type, or you can change it into a table. You can change the sorting. You can change your dimensions and also your aggregate values. But the power comes at what if you just wanted to change your report, and now you can just go in here and, for example, change to a model year. You run a report, and you save this. And now when you go back, instead of model, you can see now model year. So it's underlying, we are still using our report, and then you can just expose whatever the way you want to your users. So again, giving you a lot of options, while we are still planning to add waterfall charts and et cetera in the future, but at least meanwhile, you can work with your developers or with our App Exchange partners to have more options. So we covered operational reporting, operational trending, embedded, and Analytics API. And last slide I have, we actually started last three months ago. We have analytics-specific training. So before, if you have analyst or sales ops people joining your team, they usually went to Admin 201 or 401, and there wasn't that much analytics covered. Now we have a class for analytics specifically. So with all this new functionality and join reports and et cetera, now your new users can actually dive in and learn everything about analytics. So it's a 3-day class, and we have a class in America, in North America, and in Europe. And that's it.
Jennifer, I think we have some great questions. Can you share those with us?
Yes, well, I'm getting a lot of just wow, and that's amazing. So good job, Marco. People seem to be a fan of the new analytics stuff. The first question is a special report type required for reporting on operational trending?
No, so it's when you enable trending on any custom object, we actually create a custom report type for you. And you can go in and you can change it. You can add, remove fields. Or if you wanted to do more lookups from the object, like from opportunities, then you can do that. It's up to you.
Okay. Can embedded components be used on custom objects?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Is history only captured from the day that you enable it, or does it go back to 3 months?
So for opportunity, we go back because this is the only object where we already capture your opportunity entity history. So when the day when you enable it, we will go back current months and prior 3 months. For custom objects, we can't go back because we don't store that history for you.
Okay.
I have a question from David Young on the Success Community. You get a gold star for going out there. He wants to know if historical trending will work on the status field on cases.
So cases are not enabled yet. We are working on it, and that's behind Safe Harbor. We are planning to release it for historical trending, but it's not going out with Winter 14.
Okay, great. I see
but it will be, yeah.
But it is on the roadmap, Safe Harbor. So, and
yes,
both stars for the question out on the community.
And Safe Harbor status on case is very important to us.
Yeah, yeah. So just real quickly, there's a lot of questions pouring in. I want to make sure that everybody's aware. We're going to take all of your questions, put it in an FAQ document, and we will be sending that to you and posting it in the community. If we don't get to your question right now, we will get to your question because, as I said, the conversation will continue in the community after this webinar.
Yeah.
One more.
Well, I see several questions asking about the slide that Marco showed on the resources, and we'll post that slide to the community so you guys can go access those training courses on analytics. And then also, I'm seeing a lot of questions about what for each of these products is supported for what edition, and we'll post a summary of what's available by edition so you guys can track along with that. Marco, last question is, do components refresh automatically?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Do components refresh automatically, the embedded components?
So it's up to your admin to decide. So you can enable them to refresh automatically, or you can refresh it every time you open this page. So it's up to you. We do have some limits of how often we can refresh per user per org. So it's, again, I think admin should read our release notes and kind of think about what is the most optimal.
Okay, great.
All righty. Now, Carrie, I'm going to pass the presentation off to you. And we're going to hear about the Sales Cloud console. I'm so excited. I was so impressed when I saw this earlier today. Carrie, you should have control.
Excellent. Thank you. So, if I can get my screen to show here. So my name is Carrie Aves, and I am a product manager within the Sales Cloud team. And my core area of responsibility is accounts, but for this release, I had the opportunity to work on a side project, which is Salesforce Console for Sales. Now, Salesforce Console for Sales, you might be familiar with it, or Salesforce Console, I should say, because it's basically the Service Cloud console rebranded. We had so much interest from customers who had Sales Cloud and had sales users in the console that we have rebranded the Service Cloud console to Salesforce Console and extended it to Sales Cloud customers. So Salesforce Console is now available as an add-on to Sales Cloud user licenses. Now, the target audience that we've been kind of looking at for the user in the Sales Console is really an inside sales rep. So this is someone who's working from a desktop, working with an inbound lead queue potentially, or someone who's taking a high volume of inbound calls or chats.
and really needs to be able to easily access the information on a single screen or consolidated interface without having to, navigate back and forth between records and open up multiple browser tabs. So this is really kind of an easy-to-use interface that's intended for that type of user. Another example might be a business development rep or someone who, again, working from a desktop is doing a lot of, investigation around accounts and needs to be able to, again, look at multiple records or different types of information and wants just to be easily accessible. So with that, I'll actually show you the console so that you can get a better sense of what I'm talking about. So here's my Salesforce org, and when you create a console app, it's actually displayed as another option in the app pick list. So I've created a console app, and this particular console app is configured for a sales user. So I have added, the home tab, leads, contacts, campaigns, accounts, and even a custom object to the navigation list for the user so that they can quickly access the types of records that are important to them. When they select a particular object, a list, their default list view displays for that particular object. So maybe they want to have their priority leads display here. So I've got my lead list, and you'll notice that it's pinned to the left. And so this is one of the key features of the console, in that I can have my list view pinned to the left or even horizontally across the top, depending upon how I like to work. And this allows me to continue to see my leads list of records, but also see the detail. So here I've opened up another lead, so my lead's been opened, and I can see all the details there. I then have the ability to click back and see rows of my original lead. So here now I've got 2 leads open. So again, right in the single UI, I don't have to open up another browser tab or navigate away. Now, these are primary tabs that I've opened for my leads, but I could also open up other record types. So if I wanted to open up an activity, so this is again related to my lead, and when I open that activity, you'll notice that a second row of tabs is opened. And these are sub-tabs, and that allows me to see not only the primary record details, but also their related records, again, within a single screen. So I'm not navigating away from the page or away from the information. I can easily just tab back and forth between those 2 record types. If I wanted to see a different type of record, I can go, let's say, down to the accounts record. And I have no accounts to display. Hold on one second. So if I open up my account record, so here I've got my account record open, and again, I can have sub-records that might open. And when I open up this contact, you'll notice that the contact opens up again as a sub-tab. So again, now I've got an account open and a couple of different leads, and I can see activities and my contacts all within a single screen. One of the other things I really like about the console is, I'm always kind of going back and forth, but, logging out, leaving my desk, getting logged out of the application, and it actually has the opportunity for you to set it up so that it's sticky. And what that would allow the user to do is when they log out of the application or close down the app, next time they log in, they can actually come back to the same place they were in the app the last time. So if you have a rep that works with the same accounts over a period of time, they could have those records open and continually have them appear in the console without having to reopen the records or drill into the records again each day. Similar to the standard UI, there is a recent items component. So here I can see all the recent items that records that I looked at. I can hover and see a little bit more information. I can also see which related records I was looking at in relationship to those records, and I can anytime drill into these records and see more detail. So again, usability factors for you as a user. Each one of these components in the UI is actually resizable. So again, if you're working with a widescreen monitor, you might have a little bit more real estate than I have on my laptop. But again, gives the user the ability to display the records how it's most meaningful for them. Now, I wanted to also show you an example of a configured console and one that's actually been customized. So the Salesforce console is completely extensible. So it has the ability for you to add custom components using Visualforce or Canvas apps. There's also an API toolkit available, so you can bring in third-party integrations. And this is just an example of a demo environment that I set up. So on the left, you can see that I created a custom leads list. and really just wanted to bring more punch to the UI. So I wanted to quickly and easily identify the high-quality leads for my reps and know so they could easily determine which ones they should work on next. So I added, some color coding to the high, medium, and low. In addition, on the right-hand side of the screen, I added a pane where I can have, related records display. So you'll see that I've got my standard activity history and open activities and my campaign history. And the nice thing about that is that I can see it side by side. Now, I can also see the information in the standard detail page, but this way, again, everything's right in front of the user. They don't have to scroll or navigate to find the detail. Now, this little component on the top is actually my marketing activity. So we recently acquired ExactTarget, and as part of that solution, we were able to bring in some marketing automation capabilities through a solution called Pardot. And so what you're seeing here is some prospect activities coming in from Pardot. So here I can see it, if I'm a salesperson, all the key pieces of information that that lead has interacted with. So they've been to a webinar, they downloaded a file, or they downloaded a buyer's guide. So I know what they're involved in or what they're interested in and what their level of engagement is. And additionally, I can also bring in some lead scoring, whether it's standard lead scoring within Salesforce or from Pardot or another marketing automation solution. Again, the console is extensible, so in the components in the footer, you can also add integration. So here I've added, some gamification with Hoopla, so that I can have my reps, see what their progress is in comparison to one another or particular objectives. I can also integrate chat. So maybe I've got a chat solution on my website, and also your soft phone, so bringing in CTI to manage inbound and outbound calls. So that's just an example of how you might be able to extend the console. But I'll show you how you can easily set up a console. So if I come into my console, actually, let me go to this org instead. I come into my console, and I go to Create, App. A console is basically just another type of custom app. So once you've licensed either Service Cloud or the Sales Console add-on, when you click New, you will have a new option for creating a console app. So basically, once you select the console, it'll walk you through a step-by-step wizard of setting up the options for the console. But in the interest of time, I will actually edit my console so that you can see all the different settings quickly and easily. So here, I've got my Sales Console, and when I scroll down a little further, if you remember that navigation tab where the user could select the objects they wanted to look at, here's where I selected those objects. And you can see that all the different objects that are available to me as a user or me as an administrator to add into the console are displayed. Again, standard and custom objects are available. When you scroll down a little bit further, for each of the objects that you've selected, you can just determine how you want them to display. So should they be a primary tab or maybe open up as a sub-tab so that you always have the context of that record. And then a little bit further down, we also can determine where we want our list to be placed. So do we want the list to always be full screen? Do we want it pinned horizontally? Do we want it pinned vertically? And this is something that, again, you can configure for your users based on what you know of their desktops. And then if I wanted to add in some additional custom components, here I've added just my most recent tabs, but if there were any other custom components, you could add them here as well. And then there are a lot of other different settings with regard to refresh and how components align into the UI, as well as keyboard shortcuts. But most importantly, here's where you can determine which profile you want to assign the console to. And you can create multiple console apps, so you can configure them unique to specific users or groups of users, and then assign them accordingly to their profiles. Now, if we take a step back to our slides, just a couple of important things to note about the console. So again, the Salesforce console for sales requires an add-on license to Sales Cloud. It's currently available for Enterprise and Unlimited editions only. If you have Performance Edition, it's already included. It does require a Sales Cloud user license, so it can't be created and assigned to a chatter-only or a knowledge-only user. And when you actually assign the license, it's a two-step process. And we are taking advantage of a new license type called a permission set license. And what this allows you to do is, rather than have to go to a user record and check a box for every piece of functionality that they need, you can actually create permission sets that have the specific functionality or license type for a particular user based on their role. And you can learn more about that in the release notes, but for this release, that's what we're taking advantage of with the Sales Console. And so you'll see that first assign the permission set license to the user, and then once you've assigned it the license to the user, you'll have the ability to add that permission for Sales Console to one of their permission sets. So once that's done, and you've assigned created a console and assigned it to their profile, they'll have access to the console. Now, those of you who might also know about our previous console offering, which is called the Agent Console. This has been in the applications of Service Cloud and Sales Cloud, and will still continue to be available to customers. So it's not going away, but there is a bit of a change with regard to the branding around that console. So this is the console tab or Agent Console. And so to more consistently reference the product, we've actually updated the UI and the setup to reference Agent Console. So previously, when you went into the setup, you would have seen an option that said Console. Now you will see one that says Agent Console. If you have licensed Service Cloud or the Sales Cloud Console add-on, you will see an option for Console and for Agent Console. So you'll see both of them. So hopefully this isn't too confusing. I've tried to explain it a little bit better in the release notes, but you'll have some more information there as well. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about the console, the extensibility of the console, again, the Salesforce console is a single product or a single framework, so you can reference any of the current videos or content around the Service Cloud console to learn more about what the capabilities are. And that's it. All right, Jennifer, we have some questions. We have time for a couple.
Yeah, so the first question is, do you have to enable or license the console for sales for every user in an org?
So for any user that you want to have access to the Salesforce console for sales, you do have to purchase an add-on license.
Okay, but you don't have to do that for all 100 of your users. You could just do it for a subset?
Correct.
Okay, great. And then is there a limit to the level of drill down on a console? A couple people are looking at how you're drilling down between the objects. Is there a certain sort of distance you can go?
So there's only the primary and the sub-tab, but you can open up multiple sub-tabs. And it's hard to kind of show that navigation. I don't know if I have any good demo data around that, but I'll try and explain that a little bit better maybe in the response on the website, or pardon me, the community.
Okay. And then I'm seeing a lot of questions about how you can customize the console. As Carrie said, there are a lot of options there, a lot of flexibility, so we'll post some resources to help you guys think through all of the extensions that you can do on there and the customizations that you can enable. So Sam, do you want to wrap us up?
I just want to say about the console, if you're interested in it, contact your account executive. I love the fact that this is a feature license that you don't have to buy for every user. So even if you want to try it out for a small subset of users, this is a great way to be able to test that. So it's not a huge investment to be able to see how it's going to impact a subset of your sales team. So think about that. It's very exciting. In terms of wrapping it up, I think the most important thing is, again, we've said that we will continue to answer these questions in the community, and I want to make sure that whether you're in the Premier community or whether you're in the community for our Standard Success Plan clients, it's important that you join these. These communities are the central release readiness environments going forward. This is what our product management team is using for release readiness prep. So join one of these. Digest capabilities came out with Winter 14, yay, and Winter 14 was applied to this community this weekend, yay. So that means that all you have to do is join and set your daily or weekly digest, and you will always be informed about what's happening with Salesforce releases. So go do that now, don't wait. And I'm going to end it with saying thank you to our product managers for joining us today. We had close to 1,000 people come between the two sessions. We have hundreds of questions that we're going to put together for an FAQ. And I also want to do a shout out to our MVPs that I know are on the line. They've been answering questions in the community. We're very grateful for your involvement. And to every customer, let us know what you like and let us know what you need, because specifically Jennifer is committed to your success with every release. And I want to wish you a great day or evening. Thank you.